What's going on, people? All right, this might be a bit of a surprise, a bit new to you. It's not new to me. It's not new to us. I've known a guy called Henry for a few years. We've worked with each other in the past, and he's been asking to do this. I've been wanting to do this, and finally, we're about to do this. We're about to collab on a conversation around boxing, specifically the heavyweight division, but this could go anywhere. If you have never seen this guy before, what are you doing? Like, why have you not watched his channel? It's one of the, I think, the best boxing channels. The tactical breakdowns are fantastic. The live watch-alongs are fantastic. His channel is a guy called Henry. I'll put the link in the description. Please go and subscribe to it. He is trying to get to 30,000 subscribers sooner rather than later, and I think it can happen very, very quick. How are you, brother?
I'm really good, mate. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm so happy we're doing this because people have asked me so much lately, when are you collabing with Ade? Why don't you just collab with Ade? Well, I'm in Australia, so it's not as straightforward as you might think, but we've made it. We're here.
Yeah, just to give people an idea of how sort of unstraightforward it is. So it's 9:30 in the evening for me over here. We're filming this Wednesday evening. It is what time in Australia for you right now?
8:30 a.m. on Thursday morning.
So that's how difficult this is. But we said, look, let's just get it done. Let's make it work, and we're going to make it work. And hopefully this is a regular thing going forward. If you guys like this, and I'm sure you guys will, let us know what other subjects you want us to talk about. But I did reach out to a guy called Henry. I was like, okay, let's delve in and dive into the heavyweight division because it is a bit crazy. Before we do that, let's quickly talk about your channel and the growth of it. Some really good videos. The most Itauma one recently was fantastic. I know you've just done a video on Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson as well, right?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that's been, I only posted once in the last week because I wanted to really study that one and try and, it's so hard to break down that fight. I mean, we're not here to talk about that right now, so I won't go into it, but they're both so good and so technical. It was very, very difficult, but I sat with it for a few weeks, I'd say, studying, watching here and there, making notes, and I finally put something out yesterday. So go and check it out if you want to check that out, people.
Is it harder for you? Because look, my videos, I just sit down 20 minutes, put it up, one take. You obviously add in a lot of footage, you do a lot of research. It's a lot more analytical than most boxing channels. Is that a good thing? Does it annoy you that you can't just get a video up just like that when something happens? Or do you prefer those kind of videos where you have to study and have to then put on footage and that type of stuff that you do?
I mean, the thing is, I know what I like, and I prefer deeper, more edited videos, more analytical videos when I'm watching like YouTube in general. Yeah. So whilst it would be nice to just like bang up a video and it would do exactly the same amount of views, as a video content creator, I would not be satisfied with that video. So as much as it is a pain in the ass, I also really enjoy it, and I'm often happy with what I've made. So that's kind of the key of it, right? So yeah, no, it's all good.
And look, people are liking it, right? I mean, again, the channel's growing quickly. I mean, the numbers are very big as well. I mean, your view number to subscriber number is incredible. And it doesn't normally happen like that. Yeah, it's really, really big. Most people, it's like 20% of their subscriber base. You kind of 60, 70%, sometimes 80% of your subscriber base watch the videos. So I think you're doing really, really good stuff. So don't change it. Don't do what I do. It's not going to work. Stick to what you're doing. And it's fantastic.
Thanks, mate. As you know, there is a bit of a science to YouTube. Once you're good enough at what you talk about, and you can articulate yourself well, then it's all about all the other little details that we won't go into now. But yeah, there is a way you can sort of make it happen. But you know, you said at the beginning, we've known each other a few years. We've actually known each other for, I think it's 7 years now.
Jeez.
I met you in 2019. I was down working in London. And I came, do you remember I came on and we talked about KSI and Logan Paul and all that kind of stuff back in the day. And I bought you that bottle of Jack Daniels. That was crazy. That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. And for those of you that don't know, on my YouTube channel, there is a video I've got there called, I think, My Journey, I think it's called.
Yeah,
where I basically sit in my house, my old flat in Stratford. I'm on the green chair and I'm being interviewed, and I'm chauffeuring a guy around who's got a camera in my face. This is the guy, people. This is the guy that put that doc together. I almost feel like we need to do an updated version of that because a lot's happened between then, maybe about 4 years ago that was, and now. So much has happened. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, again, I'll put the link to that doc in the description. Check that out. It was a guy called Henry that came to my house and stayed with me, and we filmed that all in one day, and it was fun. And here it is now. Here we are. This is another journey. Let's talk about the heavyweight division. The reason I wanted to do this is because I feel like it's in a bit of a conundrum. It's a bit of a mess at the moment. We don't know who's fighting who. And now we get weird kind of fights. I almost feel like we're getting quarterfinals and semifinals as opposed to finals, if that makes any sense. Chisora Wilder looks like it's close. Yeah. No, that's what it feels like. It does feel like the round of 16 when there doesn't need to be a round of 16. I think we know who the top dogs are and they can all mix it with each other, but that doesn't seem to be happening. And it looks like we're getting Chisora versus Wilder, which I'm not mad at, but it's kind of come from nowhere.
Well, I think that's the fight that everyone's been talking about for Chisora's fight number 50 for ages. Like, I feel like people have been trying to sort of manifest it in a way, because I don't really get why Wilder would have taken it when we were talking about it, which is probably like a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Maybe 2 years ago, a year ago. And even now, it does seem like a bit of a strange one in a way. I think that it makes sense in terms of where they're both at in their careers. They're both right at the end, and they're both significantly diminished. And it's funny with Chisora because he's sort of managed to outlast all the diminished fighters in a way. Like, even though he is really diminished, he's not as diminished as the other diminished guys are, which was kind of like what the Joe Joyce fight was, right? And Chisora's decline's just been a bit steadier rather than like a drop off a cliff. So it does kind of make sense in that it'll definitely do some pay-per-view numbers, I would imagine. The live gate will probably do really well if they do it in the UK. I don't think it'll do much in the US, to be honest. But I guess that fight makes more sense to me than Wardley fighting a Chisora and Usyk fighting a Wilder. It makes way more sense in that way. But it doesn't interest me in the sense that it doesn't move the needle in the division. And really right now, what you want to see is that needle being moved, because, you know, I've been studying for this video. It's a long-term project I'm working on where we try and figure out how to rank fighters better, basically. And we were doing the heavyweight division as the study piece for it. And the number of top 10 heavyweights that have not fought another top 10 heavyweight is actually really frustrating. When you start going through the list, it makes you appreciate the likes of Daniel Dubois, to be fair, has done it. Usyk's obviously done it. Tyson Fury, who we're going to get onto, has 0 wins against current top 10 heavyweights, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. And I think the other one, is Zhang. That's why I love Zhang as well, because he takes on all comers. So yeah, it's an interesting topic of conversation for sure. What do you think about it?
I'm not mad at it because, as you say, it's two diminished fighters, and you're very right to point out the fact that Chisora seems to have held on far longer than anyone else. Like, when you think about Dillian Whyte as a great example, like Chisora is certainly more fresher than Dillian Whyte. When that fight was spoken about, and when I was on stage with both of them, I was like, well, Chisora's going to win this fight. So Chisora's been able to kind of, I don't know, almost resuscitate his career all the time. And he's not lost for a long time, Chisora, to be fair to him. I mean, he's had 3 or 4 good wins back to back to back to back. So I'm not mad at him getting this opportunity. But you're right, it doesn't change the landscape of the heavyweight division. If Chisora wins, it's his last fight. If Wilder wins, well, you just beat Chisora in his last fight. So nothing happens. And I don't like when big fights are made and there's no significant outcome for the winner or even the loser. And I don't think there is for this one. But I think it's a fight that does good numbers. I think it's a fight that the casuals will jump on board with. I think it's a fight that does a good arena. They might try and push a stadium, but I don't think they should stick to an arena. And I think it's a fight, as you said, that makes more sense than Chisora versus Wardley, even though Chisora would say, look, I would want to fight for a world title, but it certainly makes more sense than Wilder versus Usyk, which is why I'm maybe not mad at it. Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, though. It could be an absolutely shocking fight to watch. It could be absolutely dreadful because they're both solo output these days. You just sort of think like it might just be them moving around the ring posturing while they're using his extra long reach just to touch Chisora with the jab and win on points. Because Wilder doesn't seem to be able to land that right hand anymore. And without that, he has got very little to offer. I don't know if you watched the Tyrell Herndon performance, but it was absolutely... it was not of the level we've seen from Wilder over the years. I'll say that to say it kindly.
He does nothing apart from throw that right hand, and now he's scared to pull the trigger. And I've been there, his fights. I was there for Zhang. I was right ringside. And I was like, pull the trigger, and he wouldn't throw. He wouldn't throw, and he didn't throw against Joseph Parker. So he's scared to throw, and that's you've seen this with all fighters. The decline of I'm scared to throw because I now know I'm scared to receive. And I think that's
also, Yeah, also, his balance was always quite bad, but it looks even worse now. Like, he looks like he's going to fall over constantly. That Bambi on ice thing that people used to say about him, it's so true. And as people know, your legs and your feet kind of decide what you can and cannot do in a boxing ring. And his legs are just so Bambi on ice. I don't know how else to put it. Whereas the funny thing about Chisora is he's sort of lent into what he can do now, which is he hasn't got the highest output anymore, but he does counter off the ropes. And that's why I'm like, this could be a horrible fight to watch. It could be absolutely terrible.
You know, the interesting thing about the Wilder legs, obviously, look, Wilder's always been critiqued for having really skinny legs, hasn't he? Like, he's always, like, everyone's already said, like, his upper body, especially when he fought Tyson Fury, got his upper body really big and his legs were so small. And I just wonder, and look, I just wonder if his legs just aren't capable anymore because of the size of them. Like, they're just not capable to carry his top half, and hence why they seem to collapse quite easy. I mean, his balance is really, really poor. So look, I mean, they're going to sell it on Wilder of 5 years ago. If this fight happens, they will not show any highlights of Zhang, Parker, Helenius, maybe because of the knockout, but it literally will be sold on the Fury fights. And that's where the casuals will jump in. Usyk's interested in this because there was a lot of talk about Usyk versus Wilder. And now I just wonder what's going to happen with Usyk. I mean, this IV boxing, they seemed all systems go on that. And now that seems to have fallen flat. So it kind of leaves Usyk in the wilderness a little bit.
Usyk's kind of putting himself into the wilderness, though. I know that's a weird thing to say, but this Usyk, who we've always given massive credit for seeking out the biggest challenges and taking on all comers in every part of his career, this is probably the first time where you're like, oh, no, he's acting like a businessman now. He's thinking more commercially. He's thinking about low risk, high reward. But I also think he's considering personal motivation, which sounds contradictory because the thing that's always impressed me most about him is that he is the ultimate professional. He's super disciplined and he's never really relied on motivation to get him through his career. That's why he's been so consistent. He's talked about this himself. His discipline is his motivation. Like, he just gets up every day, he trains, he stays in shape. But he talked about if Parker had beaten Wilder, he said he would have been interested in the Joseph Parker fight. Yeah. And then he's talked about what interests him now. And he's saying that because Wilder is the final of the kind of big boss champions from this era of heavyweights, that he's interested in that fight. And so it does kind of sound like maybe the discipline's dipping a little bit and maybe he's now looking for a bit more motivation. And that's kind of worrying. That's when you might see him take a loss. If he doesn't, I mean, he won't, there's no world in which, in my opinion, he can lose to Deontay Wilder at this point. I think he'll knock him out within a few rounds. But he's at an interesting point in his career. It's the conversation of what are you doing this for now? Why are you continuing? You know, you've beaten all the top champions. You're clearly not going to sit and defend. You're looking for interesting things to do. So I think that he's kind of given up that WBO belt in a way to try and create something more interesting. Like if Fabio Wardley can fight and beat a Tyson Fury, then suddenly that fight looks good and makes sense. Or if Fury can go and win that belt back, then suddenly you can become 3-time undisputed. So it's almost like he's totally in control of the division right now in a crazy way. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I find the whole Usyk situation strange. Like I would have preferred Usyk to have called it quits after the second Fury fight. I mean, you're undisputed. It's done. I mean, there are no more mountains to climb. And then he obviously decided to fight Daniel Dubois. And I was like, okay. Again, I did the in-ring interview and I was like, okay, that's it. It's done. I mean, you're double undisputed. You're undisputed in cruiserweight. You've got more money than sense right now because he's been paid very, very well. All those fights on Riyadh season. You're 38, I believe, going to be 39. There's nothing else out there. And he's almost trying to find his own exciting things. Like when I spoke to him ringside at the Inoue fight, he's like, I want to go to America. I want to fight in America. Yeah. He's had one fight there, I believe, or two, sorry. Witherspoon and Michael Hunter. They were not big fights. And maybe the box to be ticked for him is to have a big fight in America. Madison Square Garden, T-Mobile, whatever. That's one box he's not ticked. There aren't that many people to do that with apart from Deontay Wilder. But I don't understand. I've always thought of him as the next man up guy. I will fight the next man up, any challengers, anywhere. And that right now is Kabayel or Wardley. And he just doesn't seem there doesn't seem to be any interest from him He's not mentioned those guys at all. Like, there's no interest in those two names whatsoever. And I'm not saying he's ducking those guys because I think he beats both, but he just doesn't seem to be excited by those names at all.
How much of it do you think is this concept that seems to sort of exist with the American audience, which is you're not a bona fide heavyweight champion unless you've done it on our shores? Do you think that's a factor in his thinking?
Maybe. I also think a factor is money. I think he's got to the stage where he's like, you know what? Just pay me. Whoever pays him the most. I genuinely believe that there was a massive conversation with this IVB Boxing, and he was going to sign up and fight for them in America, San Francisco, against Wilder. And then I don't know what's happened where that's all just been paused. But I actually think Usyk's now just almost a gun for hire, where if you pay him the most, he will fight. There's a lot of talk about him going to Zuffa now with Dana White.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you want to open that can of worms, but there's a whole lot of contradictions going on in there as well. It's weird.
All over the place, that Zuffa Boxing. Like, I just find it strange. Like, when it's all started, I almost felt like it was a prospect thing. You know, we don't necessarily want the elite champions because we don't necessarily care about the belts, and we're going to bring fighters up. Now they're signing these fighters that are champions who have belts. So you're going to recognize the next sanctioning bodies that these champions. I just find it all a bit strange. All of it strange.
I sort of wonder if, because I've done a lot of studying on this, I've done a video about the Muhammad Ali Repeal Act and all this stuff they're trying to do. It looks like it's going to go through. I mean, it's passed through the first stage of Congress. I think it was like almost unanimous, the voting on it. They've got so much favor. You know, Dana White is like best mates with Donald Trump, so I can't see it not going through.
Yeah.
What's interesting about it though is that it's going to be set up in such a way that the existing establishment can stay, but there'll be this other system you can choose, which are UBOs, which are Unified Boxing Organizations, which is exactly what the UFC is basically. It just means that they're allowed to have their own belt, their own rankings, and their own deals and promotional agreements with the fighters. But no current pro is ever going to choose that unless you're breaking that joke of a wage structure that we saw them put out. I don't even know if that was real. Maybe that's for like a development league or something, but there's no way Japatai is signed for even the upper band in that wage structure that we saw. I can't remember what it was, but I remember thinking, God, there's no way anyone's fighting for that who's a legit current champion. So I just wonder if they're like, let's have a toe in the established way of doing things. Let's also go and build our development league. And then over time, we'll like merge it together while our brand grows. I wonder if that's the strategy they're taking. And because also over time, potentially they might get to a point where they can change it fully, where it's only UBOs that are allowed. So I don't know. It's an interesting one, but they're obviously being strategic in the way that they're moving.
Yeah, I just look, they've got this deal with Paramount or whatever, CBS, right? And I just wonder if almost the execs at that are like, okay, how are we going to make a splash with this? Because no disrespect to what's on the roster, this doesn't quite do it. Fights at the apex. Like, if we're going to really, sink our teeth into this boxing thing, then we need to sink our teeth into it. And I saw Dana White today. Go on.
Sorry, why does everyone hate the Apex? I don't know anything about the Apex, but why is people dissing this venue called the Apex? What's wrong with it?
Dude, it's horrendous. It's horrendous. It's like, it's what the UFC used during lockdown to continually put on their events.
Oh.
It's a small venue. It literally has around 500 to 1,000 people in attendance. No atmosphere, right. And that's just not what boxing is. I mean, York Hall, Bethnal Green's bigger. Surely you can't have big events at the Apex. Surely it has to go big. And I feel like if Zuffa are going to make a splash, you make a splash by signing Japatai and Alexander Usyk. I mean, that's your splash right there. And who knows, by the way, I know Turkey's always been interested in Japatai versus Alexander Usyk. And that sounds really far-fetched now, but is it really the number one cruiserweight taking on the number one heavyweight? I mean, have we not seen something like that before? Yeah. So,
mate, don't get me excited now. Don't you get me excited. That would, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who would you rather see Usyk fight? Like, honestly, okay, if someone said to you tomorrow, Kabayel Usyk, Opataya Usyk, I think the voting would be really, really split. I think people are like, oh, 1 second, I wouldn't mind seeing Opataya jump up a couple of pounds.
It's a close one. I mean, the boxing nerd in me that's just like intrigued by different matchups and styles and stuff, I like either of those equally, to be honest. But if you're then adding like Fabio Wardley into the mix, then yeah, I'd rather see Japatai than Fabio Wardley. I'd rather see Japatai than a lot of the top 10, but that's just because he brings an ingredient to the table that most heavyweights don't have, which is foot speed. And Usyk slowed down a bit, I think, foot speed wise, and that's why that one would intrigue me. But also, Ade Kabayel, he needs to get a chance. If it's not against Usyk, at the very least, we need to see him fight someone who we would kind of like deem to be a top 5 heavyweight, because at the moment he's there based on having one of the best runs, but a good run at heavyweight right now looks like beating 3 guys who are top 20 or something like that. Or, you know, maybe one top 10, a couple of top 20s. So, yeah, I think he needs like a Dubois or a Wardley or a Parker, just something that you go, okay, like, yeah, he's beaten someone who's we know is good. We know is at that level.
There'll be fight fans, casual fight fans, or even hardcore fight fans that are scratching their head thinking, okay, 1 second. So let me understand basic math here. Kabayel doesn't have an opponent. Wardley doesn't have an opponent. Kabayel wants to fight for a world title. Wardley's got a world title. Kabayel's with Queensbury. Wardley's with Queensbury. Like, why are these things so difficult to make? Like, why? I don't understand the issue here. Like, if Usyk isn't going to fight, and it looks like he's right now, it looks like he's on the fence deciding what he wants to do, and Kabayel wants a world title shot against a really good opponent who's now all of a sudden got some star value and name power in the UK, Wardley Kabayel.
Yeah, I think I made a video about this actually. I think that last Kabayel fight might have shifted people's perspectives a little bit in the boxing industry, because I don't think the Warrens expected to sell out that arena, that Kabayel, or not as easily as they did anyway. And the atmosphere in there and the seeming demand for tickets was crazy. Riyadh season has been incredible for Ade Kabayel, because he wasn't doing that in Germany before Riyadh season. So I think suddenly they've sent him there back to Germany for a homecoming, and they've gone, what the hell is this? Yeah. They've like, and so now matchups can potentially be made. But I'm a bit concerned about where we're going in the next couple of years in boxing, because I think it kind of goes in cycles, boxing, where people look at the industry and the market and they go, this is really easy to enter. Like, anyone can come in here and set up a promotional company and sign some fighters, because there'll always be someone looking for a better deal. But then what happens is you get too many and everything gets splintered. And then what happens is, over a few years, some of them don't do as well. They drop off. And then you get a couple of players who then maybe work together if you get a big power broker like Turkey, or at least you're getting a few more fights. So my theory is that we're heading into one of those phases again where everything's splintered and fights don't get made, because there's no one who's going, right, yep, you fight each other. I think, did I hear you saying the other day that Golden Boy's deal with DAZN's about to end?
Yeah, it's ended.
Yeah, so that's ended. We know that Frank Warren's not doing as much with Riyadh season anymore. It almost looks like they might be preparing for not life after them, but at the very least, not working with them as much. And then Zuffa go and sign Jar Pataya. It almost looks like we might be about to have a little bit of a stagnant scene again, which kind of scares me, but hopefully not. Hopefully that's not the case.
Dude, couldn't agree with you more. Like, I said this to Gareth A. Davis the other day. I think he was overly excited about the entry to boxing of Zuffa and IVB. And I was like, dude, count and tell me how many superstar boxers there are. That there aren't enough top tier boxers for all these promotional companies and all these different broadcasters. There just isn't. That we don't have enough. Which is why I kind of really, I know some people didn't like Riyadh season, but I loved it because I felt like it was one person, in a sense, a bit of a monopoly, but we knew at least we were going to get all the fights because this one person had everyone on board. Right now, it's far too splintered for me. Far too splintered, not enough superstars, and every promotional company seemed to be promising the same thing. And I'm like, you all can't deliver. It's not possible.
The big problem with Riyadh season was that people were talking like, and I remember Eddie Hearn saying this so many times. He was like, Turkey's just doing this for fun. He's just doing this for passion and all this. And like, he just loves it. He just wants to make all these fights. And the thing is, they were always going to want to turn it into a profitable endeavor. They were never just going to like hemorrhage money on it, which is what I think they were probably doing for a lot of it, if not all of it. So it's like they made a splash. They've grown their brand. They've grown their presence. They've well and truly got their foot in the game. And now I think Zuffa is about them becoming sustainable. And the fact they've invested in matchroom boxing, I think I'm right in saying that. So they're well established now, but they are going to want to make a profit because I believe that what they're trying to do is diversify the way they generate funds and get tourism to their country and stuff like that. So they're not going to make a loss on it forever. And I think that's probably the point we're reaching now, where I think hopefully there'll still be one of those big ring cards every 6 months where they just have these hectic cards where there's a great main event that you didn't really think could get made, like Shakur against Timo, which is coming up on ring 6. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, I'm not sure where we're at right now, is what I'm trying to say. But
no,
we've kind of
agree.
We've gone off topic a little bit there.
No, it's good. I agree. Look, I work in the space. Like, I work at these events, and even I'm like, what is going on? I remember my first couple of years at Riyadh season, it felt like I was in Saudi Arabia every month. Felt like there was a big one all the time. Obviously, that isn't the case. I think there were 3 or 4. At least I did 3 last year. Compared to 2024, I think I did 10 Riyadh season events. So it has changed quite a lot. Back to the Kabayel one, you are right. Yeah. I don't think they expected Kabayel to be that much of a star. Like, it was on the DAZN pay-per-view in Germany. That's how big this event was. We weren't even supposed to really be there. We were like the second team. Like me, Darren, Barry, Carl, like a second team. They're main people on stage presenting, hence why me and Carl were always ringside doing our hits. So it was a lot bigger than they expected. So Kabayel, as much as I said Wardley Kabayel, I think they'll be thinking, oh, 1 second, we can't do that because Kabayel is now a star. Like, Kabayel is now a guy that can do potentially a stadium in Germany. Yeah.
I remember you saying that you thought they might like take him on tour basically and put him in with a load of winnable opponents because he sells out those arenas. The fact he sold out against Naiba, it's almost like shit. Because like now, he could fight 10 Naibas. I hope he doesn't do that.
No, good. He could. No, he could. German boxers just want him to fight. And whereas we over here scream for Wardley, and he might be thinking, I'm not really taking a risk until I fight Usyk. So, and he was very adamant when I said that. I said, like, who do you want? Do you want Wardley? Do you want Okolie? In the interview, he said, no, brother. Look, I've done what I need to do. I want Usyk. So it makes me feel like Usyk or Neba types. Not Okolie, not Yoka, not Wardley, Usyk or nothing, basically. And I feel like that's going to happen with Kabayel.
Yeah, and also, so like the way I view it with the WBC now, because I didn't actually know this for sure until recently when Terence Crawford vacated their belt. But obviously, I now understand that they take a percentage cut of a fighter's purse. It's not like a flat fee for fighting for the belt. There's a percentage cut. And I kind of thought that would be the case, but I never knew it for sure until that was confirmed there. So what I'm now thinking is it's all that economics, whether or not you get that world title shot ordered with the WBC at least. Because other belts, they do seem to eventually go, oh, okay, fine, you can have your shot. The WBC just don't do it unless you make a compelling case. So what I'm thinking is, in order for him to get ordered his mandatory shot, he needs to make close to or as much as Usyk in a calendar year. So if Kabayel does fight multiple times in a year and he's selling out these German arenas, then maybe over a year he can earn a good enough amount of money that they can push for that shot. Having said that, Usyk gets paid so much money now for one-off fights that I don't think the WBC are ever going to strip him. I just don't. And I don't think they're going to order that mandatory. So Kabayel, I've said for a while now, he's kind of screwed himself by choosing the WBC as the governing body, or not choosing it, but you know what I mean? It's the one he's ended up on.
Yeah.
I don't think they're ever. I don't believe they're ever going to order that shot. I might be wrong, but you saw Dillian White had to wait for 3 years or whatever it was.
I do think though that he's closer than any other fighter in getting the Usyk shot. Seeing what I saw in Germany, I remember thinking, if you can sell out in 5 days against a guy that we have no idea who no one knew who Damian Neba was. Everyone was on BoxRec immediately. No one knew. If you can do that against Neba, you can do a stadium against Usyk. And it will be on his own pay-per-view. And that might be enough to entice Usyk. They might be able to put an amount together to get Usyk to Germany. And we know Usyk would travel. And I think that could be the reason he might be the front runner. I can't see anyone else being able to put the money together unless Turkey's involved to entice Usyk apart from Kabayel in Germany.
Can Kabayel win?
Yeah. I don't think he will, but you asked if he can, right? 70-30 Usyk.
Okay.
70-30 Usyk. I mean, he can chop you down, Kabayel. He's underrated. That body punching is ferocious. But Alexander Usyk, and look, let's not forget Usyk's old. I mean, like, he's not a spring chicken. Like 38 is 38, but I think Usyk would beat Kabayel. I think he'll get the job done.
There's a lot to think about before that fight if it gets made. I think that my concern with Kabayel's body punching is I've only seen him do it against real plodders. I've not seen him do it against guys with fast feet. So I know Frank Sanchez he's supposed to have good feet, and he is a good counter puncher, but I don't know if there was something wrong with him that night. I know that's what is always said about that fight. I don't know if it was ever confirmed. Makhmudov is one of the most ploddy heavyweights I've ever seen. He's very slow, overthrows his shots a lot. And then, of course, you've got Zhang, who has a few good rounds in him, and then the gas tank's gone. And no one's been brave enough because of his power to try and do what Kabayel did, which is just sit on his chest and just absolutely destroy him to the body. So this is why I need to see Kabayel. I'd like to see Kabayel tested against someone who can move. The Dubois fight is fascinating to me. It's fascinating because the one thing about Daniel Dubois is people don't realize this about Dubois. You'll know it if you've watched my videos, but he's all legs. He doesn't block punches at all. He's all legs, and he's actually very, very fast. It's in a straight line anyway. He's not really, don't really take angles. He doesn't really move laterally, but he's got really, really athletic, fast, straight line speed in the boxing ring. And I don't know who wins that fight. I don't have a clue. I need to really think and study it. But Kabayel also has good lateral movement, so he could take himself away from Dubois. That's just a fascinating one. That's probably one of the most interesting fights to me in the top 10. That would be so interesting.
Yeah, that's an incredible fight. Like I've always said, I think Kabayel, and I guess the history books, or recently history books, show us he always does well against tall opponents. As you say, tall, ploddy guys. Zhang, tall, ploddy. Arsen Goulamirian certainly ticks that. Niba maybe not as ploddy, but tall. Against his own size, and when someone's got to move, I think it's a completely different thing. And Dubois moves. Like, it's me seeing him against AJ, it surprised me how fast he was. I think it surprised everyone, actually. And he can punch. And people might say the quick thing. I mean, he's lost twice against Usyk, man. I mean, it's Alexander Usyk. I think that's a 50-50 scrap. Like, Dubois could knock him out. Dubois could knock him out. Dubois also could get knocked. Dubois also could get drowned in that fight as well. Like, Kabayel could take him into deep waters and he won't be able to swim. That's probably one of the fights that I want to see made the most. Dubois versus Kabayel.
And this is what's annoying about the division right now, man. It's just there's so many good matchups to make in that top 10. It's any of them. They're all good matchups. They're all excellent. I think that I was going to say Wardley also being in the mix because he is just so dangerous is also fascinating. Like, Fabio Wardley's that guy, and I know this sounds mad to say, but when they were rumoring the Chisora fight, I just thought to myself, that's probably one of the only winnable fights for Chisora. And I know winnable is like a bit of a stretch, but everyone has a chance against him because of the way he does his business, because he always puts himself at risk to get his counters off. And he's very hittable because that's just what he is. He puts himself in harm's way. He's a proper, if you imagine like your archetypal amateur boxer, Wardley's like your archetypal pro boxer, where he's all about just being physical and getting to hit someone. And so, like, it's a mad division right now. There's so much that can happen. And I just need some more fights to get made.
Yeah, as we all do. Like, Wardley is very interesting just because he can knock you out just like that. Like, it's actually like Wardley's power. Like, honestly, like before, when you're fighting up and coming guys, you're like, okay, cool. You're fighting up and coming guys. Everyone's got power. Seeing what he did to Fraser Clark and the damage that he did to Fraser Clark's face, and then the Justice Hooney fight where it's a come from behind, and then Joseph Parker. This guy could honestly knock out anybody. I think for me, he's the most exciting heavyweight in boxing. Like, he is value for money. Like, whatever the ticket cost is, Wardley gives you value for money. And again, this is another guy. Literally, it was Chisora was the only name that I've heard rumored that he was going to fight. Like, how is a world champion not being linked to everyone? I don't understand what's going on.
I know. I think this is actually quite a good segue into talking about Tyson Fury, because we've not discussed him yet. And I know that Fury was talking about, he was sort of saying, "Oh, I'll fight Wardley," and then I think as soon as Wardley said, "Yeah, I'd love it," Fury put out a story being like, "Oh, well, we'll see if it can get made," or something like that. It's funny. I don't know who Tyson Fury is going to fight, but I know that if he fights Wardley, there's a very, very real chance he loses that fight.
Very real.
Very real. It's just, it's not about skill and technique. Obviously, anyone can see that Fury is the better technician. He's got the better feet, better jab, all that stuff. But Wardley is just too athletic and powerful and fresh. He's so tough. Like that fight could be absolute hell for Tyson Fury. But
and he's so raw. Wardley's so raw to the point where if you're Fury and you're a clean, pure boxer, Wardley must be quite difficult to read because it's like punches are coming from weird angles. When he gets hurt, he doesn't retreat. Like most fighters get hurt, they go on the back foot and they know how to circle and hold and clinch. Wardley doesn't do any of that. You hurt Wardley, it's very Nigel Bennis. He just wants to punch you back. Almost like a schoolyard fight. Like, oh, you hit me, I'm going to hit you. So I think he's very, very difficult to read. And if you're Tyson Fury, I know he wants to become a world champion again. At least he says he does. I think he only came out of retirement for Arslan Bekmambetov, then AJ. And now he's almost having to do a plan B. So, okay, so Arslan Bekmambetov and then who? Not going to be Usyk. We've seen that already. It isn't going to be Dubois. Literally, I think he's almost thinking, shit, it almost has to be Wardley. There's nothing else for me, really.
Yeah. I think it's that thing of he knows it himself. He actually quoted himself recently. Do you remember when he fought Vladimir Klitschko? And he was like, boxing's a young man's game. All old champions make way for new young ones. And you're the old man and I'm the new champion. And I think he shared it himself recently. And I think maybe it was an Itauma edit I saw on TikTok or something. And he was talking about like Moses being this fresh young guy. He'll beat everyone.
Yeah.
I think Fury knows. I think he knows that he shouldn't really be getting in there with a young, fresh guy, even if he is a lot better technically, because I think that Arslan Bekmambetov makes total sense as a comeback fight because he's just, he's beaten Dave Allen. He's only lost at the perceivably highest level, I suppose. He should look very, very good against him. He's really ploddy. His feet aren't good. He's wide open to be hit. I think Fury will knock him out quite comfortably within 6 rounds, probably. So then you sort of look at the scene and go, are there any other old champions? Well, I think Zhang. I think Zhang makes a lot of sense, actually, because he's so low output. Martin Bakole is one we haven't spoken about yet. Maybe we can talk a little bit about him here, but he is such an odd fighter. He's so weird because he's got this really unique Bakole. Martin Bakole. Yeah. Because he's got this skill set that's like, I've not really seen any other heavyweights with the skill set he has. Those sort of like the way he sort of hooks his way into range and can move around and create angles and the way he will just take a shot to the chin. He actually got very good reflexes, it seems to me. When he's in shape. That's the key phrase, when he's in shape. And I suppose the fear with fighting him, and probably the reason he's not getting any fights, or it seems it's hard for him to get fights, is because no one knows if he's going to show up in shape or not. So you don't know what you're dealing with. But either way, it was hard to tell with him because maybe Parker was always going to chin him because he does get hit. Even Anderson hit him plenty. But so that's a bit of an interesting one for Fury. But yeah, if AJ's not available, and the only path, in my opinion, to a third Usyk fight is if he beats Fabio Wardley, Tyson Fury. Yeah. It's the only path to it. So he might have to take that gamble, and he could win, to be fair, but it's risky.
Oh, look, I've counted out Fury so many times, and ultimately he's had 2 close-ish fights with Alexander Usyk. There's nothing to be sniffed at. I mean, Fury probably will start favorite, but Wardley could chin him. Wardley's fresh. And I think going back to that young versus old thing, I think a lot of people probably saw Itauma versus White and thought, fuck that. I'm not fighting young kids. Honestly, they probably did. They probably thought, that's what happens when you get a young kid against a veteran. Like, why are we doing this? Let the old fight the old, i.e. Chisora and Wilder. That's what should happen. I think we even saw it with AJ Dubois, like a young versus old lion, and the old young lions will get you. So Fury might have that. Fury might have that fear, like, shit, what do I get from beating Wardley? Wardley gets everything from beating me. As for Martin Bakole, I don't think there's a heavyweight around that frustrates me as much as Martin Bakole. Because I went crazy with him over Twitter after the Jared Anderson fight because I thought, oh my God, this literally, he could knock out anyone. And I compared him to George Foreman because of his size and the way in which he just hits you and you fall over.
Menacing, just standing
menacing,
there.
Dude. He's just too big. Like honestly, like even 300 pounds is an issue for him. And I'm like, dude, how are you?
Mate,
how have you not got a dietitian? Like, how have you not? Honestly, it baffles the hell out of me. How
what
in this?
What? Sorry.
You don't even have to be like. Let's be honest, dude. You can be an average heavyweight now, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but you can be a top 15 heavyweight and somehow make 7 figures. So you don't have to be the top of the tree like you used to be. And how fighters are not thinking, let me just stay in shape because anything can happen. But I can get that knock on the door tomorrow. Let me at least be in shape. And for Martin Bakole to not be in shape, I think it's a travesty. And he might look back at it. Look, he might have made enough money. He might think, fuck it. I made a lot of money with Parker, Anderson, a Jag, but I'm good. But I think there's lottery money out there for him. And I think he's just throwing these opportunities away.
I just wanted to check what fight he weighed up. Yeah, he was 310 pounds when he fought Joseph Parker. And I know he was getting off the couch, but no professional athlete should ever weigh 310 pounds when you're fighting.
What was he for a Jagba?
I was going to say when your best fighting weight is around 270, in my opinion. He was 299 against the Jagba, so he hadn't even. I mean, and that was. I mean, that was 3 months later. So, or not quite 3 months later. So I understand that. But like, for context, so I think the worst thing that happened to him was when he beat Carlos Takam. Because in that Carlos Takam fight, he weighed 300 pounds. And I think he'd had an injury in camp, and that was why. Yeah. But before that, he fought, I don't remember this fight, but he fought a guy called Sheva Dusky. And for that one, he was 280 and 3/4, which is it's kind of like borderline for him, right? Yoka, which I thought he looked very mobile, and he was 275. So I think what happened was he got injured in that Takam camp, came in at 299, absolutely destroyed Takam with ease. He didn't even have to move. It was so easy for him. And I think he thought, I can get away with this. I can get away with weighing 300 pounds. Jared Anderson, he weighed 284.5, so that's actually not too bad. But then I think maybe that performance against Takam remained in the back of his head, or maybe he's just really lazy and I'm giving him too much.
Dude. If you've got the box record, look at his fight against Sergey Kuzmin, which was 5 years ago. Look at the weight.
Yeah, 251 is what was going on there. Did he have a?
No, that was him
or something.
Exactly, that was him. How this guy is now a 300-pound guy when 5 years ago, 6 years ago, was 250 needs to be studied. Like, how have you jumped 50 pounds?
But Bakole's he's annoying because you kind of want to rank him quite high in the division because of when you look at him, you see the talent and the attributes he's got, but then you just can't. And like I think when F.A. Jagba is moving around the ring on the back foot and boxing you, like you've got to say, I'm too bloody heavy.
Yeah.
Like I can't keep doing this. And he's had enough chances. So maybe we're not going to see the best Martin Bakole at this point. I don't know.
It's interesting you talk about the weight because Lawrence Okolie said the same thing after his fight against Tete. Lawrence Okolie weighed in at 271 pounds fighting Ebenezer Tete. And he said to me as well, like, dude, I felt like I was blowing in there a little bit. And I was like, well, yeah, because you're 270. Like, you should be you should be 240. Like, how have you moved up? Like, but at least Bakole was never a cruiserweight. So I've got it like Bakole, a little bit of a, I give him a little bit of a leeway. Okolie was a cruiserweight 4 years ago. So he had to come in on the 200-pound mark. How was he 270?
Dude,
like, he needs to get down.
The way he's done heavyweight is so disappointing. It's so disappointing. Like, dude, I can't believe that this is the best way for you to get the most out of your body at heavyweight, just to go and eat.
Yeah. Like,
it makes no sense. I think he would have been a much bigger problem to the heavyweights, just putting on a bit of muscle and being a lighter heavyweight, because I'm sure he was doing a crazy water cut when he was a cruiserweight as well, to be fair. But, he's always been massive, and there's always been positive stories about him, sparring heavyweights and doing really well. And he's long and he's rangy. Obviously he's got problems on the inside, and maybe that's something to do with the extra weight he's put on. Maybe he's thinking, I need to be able to clinch at heavyweight, and to do that, I need to be heavy. But I always remember Shane McGuigan saying you're going to see the best Lawrence Okolie at heavyweight. And I don't know if that was just sort of, trainer trying to hype up his guy. And that's obviously where the money's always been. But there may have been some truth to it. And there might still be some truth to it. It's not too late for him to sort it out. But I can't imagine we're going to see a top Lawrence Okolie at heavyweight with that belly.
No, it's just not possible. There's no one. Again, look, I don't have a science degree, whatever, but there's no one that's going to tell me, like, scientifically, that's the best weight for him at heavyweight. There's no one that's going to look at him and say, yep, 270. And as you said, he was sparring heavyweights, and I heard the rumors about him causing some of these heavyweights problems. He would have been max 225 sparring those heavyweights, max. Now he's decided that, okay, I need to be another 50 pounds above that to compete in the heavyweight division, when the best heavyweight walking planet Earth right now weighs in at 225, 230, Usyk, who was a cruiserweight. I know he doesn't have the same skill set, but you don't need to be, this isn't the land of the giants all the time. Kabayel's 235. Itauma's 235. Alexander Usyk's 220s. You don't
Wardley
need
as
to be
well.
that big. Wardley another lighter. Exactly. Even Dubois about 240-ish, I remember. You don't need to be that big anymore. I just find it crazy. And hopefully he's listening and can get down to the 250s. Daniel Dubois versus Zhang, quickly. Looks like that's close. At least that's the rumors. I mean, Dubois, I mean, you touched on it earlier about a guy that fights top 10 opponents pretty much all the time, back to back to back. And I mean, his last 6 fights, he's fought guys all in the top 15. It's incredible he's run. Incredible. I mean, no easy touch-ups at all.
I mean, why wouldn't he, to be fair? I think that, in my opinion, he's still... I don't know. I don't want to say this casually, but I think he's still probably the second best heavyweight in the world. I think that... Well, I mean, losing to Usyk doesn't mean you're not the second best heavyweight in the world, right? For me, it was just a stylistic nightmare for him. Because like I said before, everything with Dubois comes from the legs. And if you have better feet than him, then you can cause him massive problems. And not many heavyweights have feet that good. Not many do. So I don't think there's anyone he can't beat outside of Usyk.
Interesting.
I don't think there's anyone he can't beat. And so I would not fear any top 10 fight for him outside of Usyk, really. Look, again, I have to really think about it, but I think he could steamroll Tyson Fury potentially. We saw what he did to AJ. I mean, I hated AJ's performance in that fight, and I still think he could do a lot better. Well, could have done a lot better, but look, we obviously won't go with AJ right now because we don't know what he's doing. But yeah, there's not many guys in the heavyweight division that I think he can't do well against, because there's not many counter punches. And the way to really take him out is what Usyk did in that fight and counter punch. And, you know, there's not many with faster feet than him, if any. So, yeah, I think whilst he's always going to have a chance of losing because he does get hit a lot, as long as he's got the better legs in the matchup, I think he'll steamroll Zhang. Zhang might knock him down. Zhang might knock him down. But yeah, I mean, Zhang could win that fight in the first few rounds, to be fair. After that, then I think Dubois will take him out. But yeah, Zhang will have a chance in that fight early.
And if Zhang knocks him down, Zhang could put him down and keep him down. But yeah. I'm with you about Dubois, actually, and I argued this. I mean, me and G-Man did a video, and I said that that Dubois is still the #1 heavyweight in this country. And he was like, "What? Fabio Wardley, world champion?" I was like, "Dude, he lost to Usyk. I mean, I'm not forgetting the run he had in the lead up to losing to Usyk. There's no shame. Anyone that loses to Usyk doesn't count for me, because you're talking about one of the greatest fighters of all time. But I still think his run's incredible. I always worry about his mindset. That's just part and parcel of Dubois now. But I think you put him in a ring with anybody not named Usyk, and I would probably favor him. That's how dangerous I think he is. I still think he's young enough. The trainer switch worries me. He's like, I don't know how many trainers he's had. What is Dubois, 26? I feel like he's had a lot of trainers already. But maybe he just needs to hear a new voice.
Obviously, Dad's at the steering wheel, isn't he? So I think that means that Stan Dubois. I think that means that, you know, you're always going to have sort of. It's like in football now. You've got a director of football and then a manager, right? It's a bit like that. The first team coach, right? Who's our new first team coach? We lost. Let's go get a new one. I would have been interested to see Dubois go to America, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like the thing he really needs to add is a guard. He needs to be able to block punches to go to the next level. But I don't know if he can. I don't know if it's just like an anatomical limitation he's got, where, like, you know, his elbows are quite flared out because he's so muscular. He's got a huge chest. So I just wonder if it's like an issue with the way he's built rather than actually not being able to.
I think he is what he is. I think he is what he is. And not that he can't add to it, because, again, he's still young. But I almost feel like with him, it's just wind him up and let him go. He might win some, he might lose some, he might be an exciting fight. So I kind of just feel like he's going to be that guy that might end with a record of something like 44-7. Still a very good record. He's been a world champion. It's a great career. But I just think Dubois is what Dubois is. You mentioned one man there that we've not spoken about, who's definitely a top 10 heavyweight for me anyway. Filip Hrgovic.
Yeah.
El Animal, who we last saw against Joe Joyce, I think it was.
No, it was against Adelaide.
That's it. Apologies, Adelaide. And that was a really good fight, wild fight.
Well, there was a good round anyway. There was a good round.
Yeah, there was a good round. There was a good round. 2 rounds.
Yeah. I think I was actually going to say this to you earlier in the video. It popped into my head. I wonder if Kabayel fight Hrgovic. Because you know, Croatian in Germany, that might do numbers. I don't know exactly what the rivalry there is like, but he's a winnable fight. He's clearly top 10. I mean, but he could win that fight, Hrgovic. But yeah, he does seem to have gas tank issues. Although I thought he was much more consistent with his output against Adelaide. Like, I thought he was better than I've seen him in a while, actually, output wise.
I really like him now that he's with Abel Sanchez. I think Abel Sanchez has fixed a few of these issues. Abel came on board prior to the Joe Joyce fight. They had a small camp, and now he goes to Big Bear all the time.
I was going to say that altitude training. Yeah, interesting.
And he was ringside. I interviewed him. He was ringside for Kabayel, and he was like, he wants that fight. That's what he said. He said he wants Wardley or Kabayel. If I'm Wardley, I'll take him. Like, if that's the name that's out there, and that's a good solid top 10 name for Wardley. It's risk. You know what it is with Wardley? They're all risky because of who Wardley is. But I'm sorry, if you're a world champion, there are no backward steps. There are no easy touch-ups. It has to be a top 10 guy all the time.
I'm not saying don't take it. My sigh was because I'm thinking about Hrgovic's chin receiving Wardley's punches, and I'm wondering what's going to break first, because Hrgovic has probably got the best chin at heavyweight.
Yeah,
I'm like, if anyone can take those punches, it's Hrgovic. And if he can stay consistent with his output, maybe he can win on points.
Dude, Wardley gets hit. Like, and Wardley, and it's, for as fresh as we think Wardley is, 3 of his last 4 fights have been damaging. Like, damaging.
It's going to catch up with them at some point. No question. It will.
Damaging. So if I'm Hrgovic, I'm like looking at that thinking that like, I can just outbox you. Like Justice Hooney was. I could just outbox you. I'm a better boxer.
Although what I will say is, I think Hooney's a really underrated boxer. Like, he's fast, man. He's so fast. Like, he's like an amateur boxer at heavyweight. He's so rapid. He doesn't really have a great chin, and he doesn't really have any power. But if he can be perfect for 12 rounds, then he can just school you. But Ade, like, I know we're coming to the end of our time, but if you've got a bit of time, it'd be great to talk about Itauma before we go as well, because I just don't think you can do a heavyweight video without talking about Moses Itauma right now.
Dude, I'm happy to. Yeah. No, I'm happy to. I was actually going to mention Hooney for Itauma. It's weird, obviously, and we know Itauma's fighting Franklin.
I love it.
I thought that was a great matchup that they've kind of missed. I thought Hooney for Itauma would have been fantastic. Honestly, fantastic. Yeah. Look, I'm upset about Itauma, man. Look, I'm the biggest Itauma fan there probably is. Just because of the Nigerian thing as well. With AJ coming to the end, it's almost like, okay, who can I put my Nigerian flag around? And it's Itauma. I like his stoic attitude. He's got this menacing, for a 20-year-old or 21 now, he is so menacing. It's like, dude, did you like have fun growing up? Like, did you have a childhood? But I don't like the inactivity. The inactivity is there. Like, I mean, he fought for 5 minutes last year. Those are the facts. This needs more fights, like way more fights.
Well, you saw the video I did where I went and researched that and tried to figure out if he was on track or not. And he's got the lowest amount of fights. Look, amateur records on BoxRec aren't always complete, but assuming it's even close to being right, he's got the lowest combined pro and amateur fights of anyone that's been a top champion in recent times. And in the past, obviously. I mean, they fought more back in the day. I mentioned Mike Tyson purely for comparison, because they did say initially they wanted to break that record, whether or not that was ever the real intention. He has to fight more, man. And I think the year he had last year, where he had, how many fights did he have last year? Was it 2?
Two.
Not good enough. You know,
Mike Balogun and Dillian White.
It's not good enough. You know, he should have fought 6 Mike Balogans last year. You know, I don't even, the thing is, people want to talk about the level of opposition and stuff. I don't even care if he fights, you know, not to be crude, but 8 tomato cans this year. Like, I don't care. He just needs to be in the rhythm of being a professional boxer. He's barely been pro. He's barely been in boxing. Like, he just needs fights. his numbers are so far off the other guys. You know, it's just not, it's not good enough. And I'm not criticizing anyone in particular because I don't actually know why he's not fighting. There's people that think it's a promotional thing because they're like, well, he already generates numbers. And so, you know, we don't want to put him out loads every year. We want to keep him as a premium sort of pay-per-view fighter now. There's other people that say he can't get fights because, frankly, you know, guys don't want to get knocked out. They don't want to get hurt. So opponents are asking for too much money. There's people that think maybe Itauma's not that interested in boxing. You know, there was, he actually said it himself that he hated boxing before he got with Ben Davison. He said he absolutely hated boxing, and Ben's taught him how to love boxing and help him to understand the sort of essentially the chess match that's taking place in the ring. And I sort of wonder, is that enough to really stay consistent and love the sport to kind of get it from something external? But then, you know, you could argue he's got a true understanding of it now. But yeah, I'm overall concerned, and I just don't want us to miss out on what could be like a generational heavyweight talent potentially.
Yeah, I mean, loads to unpack from what you said there. My biggest issue is obviously that they were initially trying to do this Mike Tyson record thing, which I thought was silly from the outset. I don't like the idea of someone becoming a world champion unless you're going to fight the best in the lead up to becoming a world champion, not just finding a belt and a route. And then they kind of had to go backwards. Okay, we're not going to do the Mike Tyson thing. Okay, so what's the plan now? And I think one of the biggest things or the issues they've had with Moses is every other superstar that's become a superstar over here in the heavyweight division has kind of gone the traditional route. AJ went British title, Fury went British title, and even the lesser ones, Fabio Wardley, etc., Chisora, all went that route. Moses couldn't go that route because he was too young to go that route. So they've tried to find another route for him. My thing with Moses is I just want to see you fight. I don't necessarily care about you in headline fights. I don't care about it being pay-per-view. I'm with you, 8 tomato cans. I just want to see, like, let that be the thing. Like, okay, this is the plan now.
I mean, what if you had to say, what do you think the problem is?
I do think there is an issue in terms of fighters wanting to get paid too much. It's funny because I think the Dillian Whyte performance, although fantastic, might have hindered it a little bit. Like, whoa, I ain't fucking fighting him. Like, I genuinely believe that fighters, there will be, maybe not fighters, but fighters managers were like, okay, we will fight, but you better pay us. Because they ultimately know what could happen after seeing the Dillian Whyte stuff.
But basically, I think my concern is that they're going to hinder him becoming as big as he could be commercially and as good as he could be commercially by not boxing him on more shows and growing him. You know, I think you've got to get him more exposure because everyone's going to fall in love with him. Yeah. He's brilliant. He's so good to watch. He's so fast. I was rewatching the Dillian Whyte knockout the other day. It's just the hand speed when he let them go was like it wasn't like, yes, I think Dillian's severely diminished, but also he just took him out. Like he just decided you're done. Yeah. He saw the weakness. He went for him. That was it. It was crazy.
He's incredible. Dude, he's incredible. There's a reason people around the world, like, I always feel like UK fight fans barely get the respect from UK fighters barely get the respect from American fight fans. They love him. They're excited. They're like more. They're trying to lap it up. And we want him more and we're not getting more. And I think that's the annoying thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, so I guess before you go, Ade, what's coming up for you soon? What have you got going on the rest of this sort of year? What you got? What are your plans?
Dude, quite a lot, you know. I was just having a conversation with the guy called Dr. Easy who puts on the Nigerian events. He's in the country. Right. I just met him about like just how do we improve the night? You know, and what I like is that he's bringing me in. Like, how do we make this look better? Like you know, I want to do it. Nigeria has a big opportunity to kind of put on boxing events. You know, we've got a bit of money. How do we make it better? So I've been working sort of behind the scenes, if you like, with him. So it's not a case of me being on camera as much. It's just a case of, okay, try this, do that. So that's exciting for me. Over here, some news coming out of me and DAZN very, very soon.
Oh,
which is which is very exciting.
I genuinely do not know what that is.
Yeah, nor do I. No, of course I do. And sort of fight-wise, what's the next one for me? Josh Kelly, world title fight against Bakram. I was trying to get on the Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez card, like begging. And they're like, no, sir, you're going to Sunderland.
No, the American broadcasting for that one, isn't it?
It is nonsense. I was like, dude, I'll do any role They're like, sorry, you're going Sunderland. And I was like, okay, it is what it is. Literally, I'm not joking. I begged.
My guy wants his free ringside view.
Yeah, I begged. And they're like, no. It's not. Remember, it's a fight. It's got Keyshawn Davis on it. Big Baby Miller. There's a few others as well. Shushu Carrington, like some good. And I'm like, please, no. But like, it'd be good to see Josh though. Hopefully, Josh looks good against Bakram. Tough ass, but let's hope he looks good.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by that one. Very intrigued because I don't even know how good Bakram is. I mean, he looked sensational against Sue, but then he's just been so inactive over the years. You just don't really know what. We don't know. Yeah, I mean, the conventional thinking is that he's a big version of I can picture his face. His name is Avanesian, exactly. Yeah. If he's just a big Avanesian, in which case Josh Kelly's going to have a lot of trouble. But I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. Not long to go. What, 11 days or so? So not long to go. What about you, dude? Yeah. Very quickly before we wrap, your channel and the goals and ambitions, aspirations. What is it?
Do you know what it's with me, man? Like, I like the idea of setting goals, but then when I think about it, I'm like, the only goal I can really set is to stay consistent because I know what I'm doing is right now. I've got all these different content pillars that I have, or whatever you want to call them, and I really enjoy all of it. So I just want to stay consistent this year. And I think if I do, then hopefully I can get to full time in the next couple of years. That's the aim, basically, is to get the channel full time. And yeah, I am starting a podcast though. It's going to be called Violent Chess. And I've got the first couple of guests lined up. So that's going to be fun. It's probably going to mostly be after fights have happened. Try and put it out on the Monday following and just do like a real detailed tactical look at how fights went down, basically, and try and make it more about what's going on in the ring. Less gossip column stuff, more actual sport. So I've got a couple of good guests lined up already for that. And yeah, that's it really. Oh, also, the other one I really hope I can get you involved with in some way is I'm trying to put together a documentary for Inoue Nakatani. I want to go to Japan. I've got a guy who's a fantastic documentary maker who wants to come out and do it with me. So the idea is to go out there and try and make some mad documentary about the fight. I want to try and get backers for it. And if you go, then hopefully we can meet up while we're there. That'd be awesome.
Dude, that would be incredible because I've actually said, it's interesting you say that because I've said, even if, I don't think it's a DAZN fight, I think it will fall on whichever, I don't know, whatever deal Top Rank gets, I don't know. But I've said I'm going out there as a fan. Hopefully I can get all the access that I need. Yeah. So I'm not just, sitting in a seat where I need, I don't know, binoculars. But I am going to watch Inoue Nakatani. There's no, it's happening. There's no way I'm not going to that fight.
Yeah. I think I'll go whatever happens potentially, but it will be expensive as well. So I need to kind of weigh it all up. But yeah, we'll see, man. But it's going to be a great year. I'm excited for it.
So am I, dude. And I've been excited because of this link up as well. So I appreciate it, my man. That was fun.
No, all good, bro. Yeah, very good.
Do it again very, very soon.